Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Romero, and I am the Career Education Counselor here at IVC. I actually coordinate our Career Center, so I'm really excited. Welcome to the Career Readiness at IVC session. And with me, I have one of my counselors, Cindy Voss. She's also a career counselor here too. So if needed and you have any questions or if there's things that are unclear, she'll be kind of monitoring any questions and looking at the chat. So we're going to kind of go ahead and get started. And please, like I said, if you have questions, if something's unclear, just ask, and I'm more than happy to help answer those questions. And so really today, just to kind of give you an overview, we're going to talk about career education, which a lot of our students don't really know about. And so I always tell them after this presentation, I promise you, if anything, you're going to walk away with one question the next time you meet with the counselor. So we're going to talk about what your options are as students, a little career exploration, right? So I always tell students, it's amazing how oftentimes when we're going to make a big purchase, like maybe purchasing your first car, we'll spend hours and days doing the research and looking up the car and the specs and how cool it is. But yet we don't put the same amount of time into the career exploration process and choosing something that we're probably going to spend many years doing. So we're going to kind of talk about, what that process looks like and things that you can do as students. I'm going to share some really cool IVC Career Center resources with you, and then talk to you about our job posting site, and then just kind of give you some tips and strategies. So again, welcome everyone, and then we'll go ahead and kind of get started. Okay, so just to kind of get you all thinking, and I always tell students this because I think it's really important. So the typical person will work 88,000 hours over a lifetime, right? So it kind of puts it into perspective and makes you kind of want to think about the choices you make, right? Because you're going to be doing them for quite some time. Career planning results in having realistic career goals. So just like many of you, I also would love to win the lotto, or I'd like to, hit it big in the stock market, or, but realistically, I have to have backup plans, right? And I have to have options. So that's where, it comes into play about having realistic career goals. And then the occupation you choose has a big impact on many aspects of your life. So narrowing your choices somewhat helps define your lifestyle and gives you a clearer picture of who you are. As a counselor, and I always tell students this, it's very important that you stay true to your values and what you believe, and even think about, in the next 5 or 10 years, the lifestyle you want to live. For example, I grew up in a family where my mom was in education. So I was used to having her home in the summer. I was used to her having holidays off. And so to me, that was like a normal thing growing up. So I knew that as I got into my roles and I pursued different career options, I liked that. So I wanted to have that similar lifestyle. So things just as small as that can make a huge difference in terms of the choices and the options that you have. And then the next one, when you are faced with many, many career options, you may not take the time to explore them in depth. Instead, you feel overwhelmed. So I will say, sometimes the career, exploration process can be very overwhelming. I see students all the time in our center and in our counseling appointments who either one, they feel overwhelmed because they don't know if the major they're choosing is the right one. Number two, they like the major, but they're not 100% committed. Or number three, they just don't know and they feel kind of lost. Like, should I be here if I don't know? And so all of that is normal. And I tell students, like, that's all part of the process. And if you didn't feel that, then you should be worried. And then lastly, students who have completed career exploration have more confidence in themselves and are more motivated to achieve their goals. So, it's always nice. And I always say, like, it's like you always, whenever there's like a prize, at the end, or you have like, I always say, keep your eye on the prize, because ultimately that's the big picture. That's our reason. And that's our why we do what we do in order to reach that end goal. So like having a clear picture of what that looks like is extremely helpful from a student perspective. And then this is just one of my favorite, stats. So it says about 41% of recent college graduates and 33.8% of all college graduates are underemployed, and that they're working in jobs that don't require a college degree, right? So I always tell students, and so as we get into the next slides, I'm going to kind of reiterate what that means. And students always say, like, we no longer live in an era where the degree is like the golden ticket. So like you get the degree, you get the dream job. It's a little different, right? So I tell students, you really have to play the game smart. And so we're going to kind of talk about this as we go on. Okay, so knowledge of career education, right? So what is career education? And so just out of curiosity, go ahead and put some questions in the chat or just respond to what I'm asking. I'm curious to see what you all think or what you've heard, right? So what do you know about career education? What have you heard? What do you think it is? And is it an option for you? And then what are misconceptions? So I'm just kind of looking at the chat. Has anyone heard about career education? Do I have any brave souls willing to answer? Okay, and just out of curiosity, so some of you may are like, I've never heard of what career education is. But what have you heard about it? Have any of you heard anything about it? You could put it in the chat. I've heard of it, but I don't know what it means. Okay, thank you, Connor. Knowing what careers or options? No. Okay. So, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you as we go on, I'm going to share with you a story, right? As myself, when I was a student and how I didn't know about it either. So I was like, career ed, what is that? What does that mean? And as we go through, you know, it may hit close to some of you and you may say, yeah, that's exactly how I feel, right? But I don't want you to make the mistake I made, and I'll explain what that is. So let's kind of dig a little further, right? So what is career education? So career education provides students with technical education and training to prepare them for high skill, high wage, high demand careers. And the reason why I highlight the high skill, high wage, high demand, because ultimately as students, don't we all want to find something that's high in demand, that's high wage, right, and high skilled? So we want to know that whatever job or area or major we pursue, that it's high in demand, in that when we graduate, people will want us, right? So what are those programs, right? Because that's ultimately the end goal. CE provides, you know, students an additional option. So sometimes, for example, I've had students come to me and say, you know what, I don't know if I can do the whole, you know, 2 years and then transfer to a university and do another 2 years. I don't know if I could go another 4 years, or, you know, I really want to find a job now that makes more than minimum wage. So what are my options? Or, you know what, I really want to work, I want to become a teacher someday, but that's going to take me maybe 4 or 5 years. So in the meantime, what can I do to become a teacher, right? And so I tell students, this career education is the perfect option because it's going to provide you that stepping stone to get you into the next, you know, area. It provides you with transferable skills. So it provides you with real life practical skills that you can transfer from one place to another. And at IVC, we have more than 100 different career, you know, education certificates and degrees in over 21 different sectors. So I'll share a funny story with you. So when I was a student many years ago, straight out of high school, I started working at In-N-Out, and I'm sure a lot of you love, you know, In-N-Out Burger, right? So it's like a popular place that many of us like to eat at. And I got hired when I was like 15, and I worked there all the way up and through college until I was about 21. And what I found is that I knew from early on I wanted to work in education. I wasn't sure what age, if it was like high school or elementary, or I wasn't sure who exactly I wanted to work with, but I knew I wanted to at some point become a teacher of some kind, right? So I was working, and I never knew that I could have done so much more in between. So instead I just said, well, In-N-Out, it's flexible with my schedule, it works for me, I'll just stay here till I graduate college and then look for a job, right? The problem is when I graduated college and I looked for a job, no one comes knocking on your door saying like, hey, I have a job for you. So I was like, wow, I did like 4 years, I have my degree, and I was kind of like, now what? So looking back, I wish I would have asked a counselor, what, you know, am I close to any certificates? Is there anything that I could achieve that would allow me to, you know, pursue education instead of waiting 4 years until after I have a degree? It would have been so much different. And when I think about going back, I'm like, I could have worked for after school programs. I could have worked at the YMCA. I could have been a tutor. I could have been a teacher's assistant. I could have done so much directly working with students as I was in college, building that experience. So by the time I graduated, I would have actually had you know, a nice resume with experience. I would have now had a degree, and I would have looked so much more competitive. So I want to encourage you all to think about, you know, certificates. And again, certificates are career education, right? From a perspective of, even if you're a student looking to transfer to a 4-year school, or if you're a student looking to get a degree, Or you're a student who just says, hey, I want to find a job in a field that I enjoy. Career education is for everybody, right? It provides every student with options. I was that student that never asked because I just didn't know. And so I don't want any of you to be that student. So make sure that you ask. So at IVC, we have two different types of certificates. One is a certificate of achievement, which is a minimum of 12 units. And then the other one is a certificate of proficiency, which is our smaller certificate, and it's less than 18 units. So in terms of our classes, majority of our classes at IVC are about 3 units. So when we're looking at the smaller certificate, you're talking 6 units or less. So for my students who are considering business as a major, we have some programs, the certificate programs that are only 6 units. That's 2 classes, right? Our certificate of achievement, those are typically going to be around 18 units to like 24. So you're talking anywhere from 6 to 8 classes. But if you're looking to work in education, if you're looking to work in a law office, if you're thinking business, whatever, engineering, we have certificates that line up with those majors. And so for myself, I was 1 class away from earning a certificate in child development at the community college I went to. Had I had that certificate, it would have made a huge difference. And like I said, I just didn't know and I never asked. So the one thing I'm going to tell you all is regardless of what your educational goal is, what your major is, whether you know or don't know, I want to encourage you to ask that one question that makes a huge difference. So ask the counselor, am I close to getting any certificates? Am I eligible for any certificates? Anything along that line, because if so, had I asked and the counselor would have said, you're only 1 class away, I would have done it without even thinking about it because I know what a difference it would have made for job hunting, for landing a job in the field that I wanted to study. And it would have just looked so well on my resume. So make sure that you ask that. And again, we're monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to, to put them in the chat. And then I always encourage students this. So this kind of gets students thinking, right? So I want to tell you, so there's the 1-2-7, and it's a very, very important ratio. And so think of it like this. So there's, for every doctor, there's usually like a nurse and maybe like another type of physician. So let's say for every doctor, there's like 2 nurses. And then with that, you have the medical assistant, the x-ray technician, the back office, or you have 7 different types of positions that offer support, right? So ultimately, some of you on here may say, well, I want to become the doctor or I want to become the nurse. The thing is that it's going to take some time to get there. So where is the demand? Where are the jobs at? And where is there a need for the market? In the 7 area, right? So I tell students, that's what you want to look at because certificates cover those areas. Again, it's not going to be, it could be your end goal, but it doesn't have to be. That area could be just a stepping stone to get you to the next level. And then from there to the following level. So think of it in terms of the 1-2-7 ratio, because I always tell students, like, you never think about it, but when you go to the doctor's office, you see how many people before you even get to see the doctor, right? And those are, think of all the jobs. And then sometimes you see the doctor for maybe 5 minutes and that's it, right? Yeah, you talk to all the others for a lot longer. So think of it in terms of like that. And that's kind of represents, career education. So we do have a question, are certificates elusive to community colleges? So every community college in California, and keep in mind, just an FYI, there's 116 community colleges in the state of California. Every community college are going to offer certificate programs. Now, some of them will have the same ones. Business is one of our most common majors across all community colleges. So you'll find every college offers different certificates. However, it may change. So for example, like at IVC and under digital media, we have interactive media arts, right? And so maybe another college may have something under their digital media, but it's going to have a different concentration or a different focus, right? For example, we don't have nursing, but our sister school does. So, and they have like medical assisting and different areas like that. So every college is going to be a little different in what they offer. But it kind of just gives you like an idea that, just ask if you're interested. So thank you for asking that. That was a great question.
There's another question, Linda. There's another question. Do they have certificates at UCs or 4 years?
Okay, So some cases they do offer certificates, but you're going to find majority of the community colleges are the ones that offer the certificate programs. So sometimes you'll find like UC will offer some type of extension certificate, right? So it's like in addition to, I will tell you the cost is obviously a lot more expensive in terms of, the cost. So every community college is the same amount. It's $46 per unit. Whether you go to us or any other community college, we all charge the same amount. It's very all across the board. Where when you look at Cal States and UCs, it jumps, right? So the increase is different, and you're going to find that the offerings of certificates is very, very limited. I will tell you this though, and thank you for asking that, Anne. So sometimes I tell students, like, let's say you're the student who's going to go straight to a 4-year, but you're a business major. And let's say you go to UCI or Cal State Fullerton. However, in the summer, and I don't know if you all know this, but when you attend a university in the summer, a lot of students don't because it's super expensive to attend in summer. So it's just not worth it sometimes. So what you do is I tell students, that's when you go back to the community college and maybe take those 2 classes or those 3 classes, earn that certificate, and then start back at where you're at, right? So that's always a really good option because certificates make a huge difference. And I'm going to show you what those look like as we continue on. And just to kind of reiterate, so this is what a certificate is. So in order to get a degree, you do your general education, which is about 35 to 42 units. Then you do major classes, right? So that can be anywhere, to the remainder of the units, or maybe you're like short and you're at 57 units. And then that's where you would add in an elective class. So to earn an associate's degree at any community college, the key number is you need 60 units. Okay. And that's kind of how we fit together the puzzle. Now, when we look at certificates, they don't require general ed and they don't require electives. They only require the focus of what the classes are. So if you're saying I want to earn a certificate in accounting, you're only going to take the classes required for that accounting degree, certificate. If you say I want to do human development, you're only going to take the 4 classes required. And I'm going to show you an example as we continue on. But that's what's kind of nice. And so, like I'm telling you, like you can just take major courses and later on add in math and English. I have a lot of students who come to us and they say, I just want to focus on the certificate for now because I want to try to find a job. They complete the certificate and they're like, wow, that was actually pretty fast. And I actually enjoyed it. I really liked that. How would it look like if I got the degree? And then I show them, I say, okay, let's add the other classes you would need if you wanted to get a degree. The nice part about it, there's no specific order. There's no right or wrong way of taking the classes. So you can build in any way that you choose to, right? And they're also stackable, which I'm going to show you in a bit. Does IVC offer some sort of teaching certificate? So we have human development certificates as an assistant teacher or an associate teacher. And now if you're referring to like a credential, we don't offer like a teacher credential, but we do have certificates if you wanted to work with younger children that would allow you to work in a classroom. And I'm going to actually show you an example of what that looks like. So hopefully that'll be helpful. So just to kind of give you an overview, when we look at options and someone asked the question is, do we offer certificates at, the Cal States or UCs? So looking at the grid here, you'll find most certificates are going to be offered at just the community college. Okay, so that's where you're going to find them. And then from there, the next level is the associate's degree, and then it kind of moves up further, right? At IVC, we offer a ton of different certificates. And so remember, like I said, under every area, we offer a variety, and I'm going to show you an example of what like accounting is. But so you'll see, just to kind of highlight some of them, accounting is a real popular one for a lot of our business majors. Computer information management. So when you think about like networking and routing and just like kind of just learning all of the different programs and the very like tech savvy ones, CIM is another popular program. We have digital media. Our engineering students sometimes look at our electrical or electronic ones because that they're like, wow, I'd like to learn the electrical part before I pursue engineering later. Human development, if you want to work with children. But I even have students who say, I want to eventually look at, pursuing like a law degree or pursuing an area in that area. So sometimes paralegal studies is a good option. And then you have students who say, I want to do real estate. I want to sell houses as a way to eventually, pursue my degree or as a way to, land the job. So we have so many different options. And I want to show you just an example of what like an accounting is, right? So let's say you're a student who says, I want to transfer to Cal State Fullerton as a business major. And so you come to me and that's your goal. Cal State Fullerton on the right here, you'll see that Cal State Fullerton requires these courses as part of their major, right? So you'd have to take these classes plus the general ed. Now, our certificate on the left here, the IVC accounting certificate, do you see there's a lot of overlap? So what I would tell this student is, look, Cal State Fullerton is requiring you to do majority of the classes that we require for our accounting certificate. So literally you're just one class away from earning it. Do you think that taking, the CIM 107 or CS1 would be worth it, taking that class? Because, it would earn you a certificate. And so most students say, really? I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah. And by doing that, not only would it earn you the certificate, but you'd actually be able to apply for the accounting degree as well, in addition to the business degree. So students are like, wow, wait, tell me more. I want to know, right? So I tell students, remember, the idea is we don't want to give you a ton of classes to take and have you take all these classes so that you're here with us forever. We want you to take the right classes that are going to allow you the most opportunity and earn you the most, whether it be degrees, certificates, whatever the case may be. Most of our students at IVC, when they leave us, they're eligible for more than one degree. They just don't know. So that's why it's important that they meet with the counselor and they ask these questions.
Amanda, we have a couple of questions that are kind of go in line with what you're talking about. One is, if I'm going into IVC to go to UC, should I get associates first, then bachelor's, or just take the bachelor's at the end? You kind of talked about that overlap.
Absolutely. Any degree or certificate you earn, and you're not like, for this student, it would require nothing really extra. Definitely take the degrees that you're eligible for. So that's why I say, have the conversation with the counselor and say, what am I eligible for? So the student would be eligible for, like, let's say a business degree, but then they can also get like a liberal arts degree, right? That's just like a general ed degree. Take them both. You've earned them. It's not costing anything extra. You don't pay for them. Take them both, because again, you're going to add this to your resume.
Right. And then the second question is similar too, about computer science courses and similarities of courses, and how, yes, you can overlap those, and some of them will be the same courses in the major as well as in the certificates.
Yeah, you're going to find, like, for this student here, I mean, it makes sense. Take the degree in accounting and also the certificate. I would encourage a student, apply for both, because now you have, 2 degrees and a certificate highlighted in accounting. Let me show you here. So this is just to kind of give you an idea. So this is an example of our School of Business, right? So, and I use this example a lot because, like I said, this is probably one of our most popular majors at most community colleges, not just IVC. But so under our School of Business, we have paralegal studies, we have business management, accounting, CIM, and real estate. Now, look, if you look under, what I've done is I tried to give you a bird's eye view of all the different certificates that we offer. So under business management, the list just goes on, right? So then it goes into retail and supervision and manufacturing and entrepreneurship. Under, computer information management, you'll see it goes into local area networks, web authoring, spreadsheets, Office, A+, plus, and networks, Linux. So under the umbrella, I would say, look at so CIM would be the large umbrella, and under that, we offer a ton of different opportunities. So they're stackable, where a student can earn one, maybe take one more class, earn another, take another class and earn another. And let me show you in this next slide what that looks like. And Mohammed, I see your question about, could you show me some examples? This is a perfect example, right? So this is the accounting certificate. A student would take accounting 1A, 1B, and management 104. So there's 3 core classes, and then they get to choose 4 from the following. So what I would do is have the student take the 4 classes that the university would also want, so that they don't have to take extra classes, right? And then they would earn a certificate. But let me show you what it looks like when we stack them. So maybe this is a student who says, I don't want to go to the university. I don't even know if I want a degree. I like business and I want to kind of explore accounting. And this is what I would tell the student. I want you to start off with these classes here. I want you to take accounting 204 and spreadsheets 1 and 2. It's 6 units. They can complete this in 1 semester without a problem. If they like it, I say, okay, the following semester, let's take accounting 1A. Now they've earned a second certificate. Maybe the following semester, I say, okay, let's take accounting 1B. Now they've earned a third certificate. If they want to do income tax, they could take, and I always tell them, perfect time around tax season when everyone needs to file their taxes. You have so many companies hiring that are seasonal that say we're looking to hire just for this time frame. Take income tax, accounting 206 and 207. Now you have multiple certificates. You know how to do individual and business tax, and you have stuff to show. You have proof to show that you've earned these credentials. Add them to your resume, start applying for jobs, right? And then maybe you take one more class, the 205, which is payroll. So this student, within the 8 courses, they've earned 5 different certificates. And this is something that a student could complete in less than a year. So do you see how beneficial this is for a student, and how, as long as you plan it out the right way, and I say, don't try to navigate this on your own, meet with the counselor, let us help you. But as long as you plan this out accordingly, a student on a resume, this student would look highly marketable. Like, this student knows managerial, financial, they know QuickBooks, they know individual tax, business tax, and payroll. This is someone I'd want to hire, right? And even if you're the student who says, I want to go to a 4-year, this is still the student I want to hire that's still in school and trying to pursue that larger degree, right? So are certificates more for job opportunities? Absolutely. So certificates are meant, again, high skill, high wage, high demand. The idea is that you complete the certificates in the sense that employers are definitely going to want you because you have more skills, you stand out, right? So here's another example for human development. And this is a certificate that I talk about that I personally never asked about. And I was only 1 course away from achieving this. So they want HD7, HD15, 2 core classes. And then you get to choose from the 2 classes below from this area here. You get to choose what 2 classes you want. So I tell students, this is the fun part, because maybe you say, I want to learn about like curriculum or discipline or whatever the case may be. This is where it kind of gets fun, because you get to choose what those 2 classes will be. And so in total, you're only taking 4 classes. You've earned a certificate in human development. For a student who wants to transfer to Cal State Fullerton, these are the exact same classes that Cal State Fullerton will require. So why not pick up the certificate? Because you're doing it anyways, right? So that's just another example. In terms of cost, so remember, it's no different than the cost of any other, like a writing or math or any other class you would take. The cost to attend a community college is $46 per unit. So, looking at, for example, this certificate, 46 times 12, that'd be the total cost of the certificate. Plus you have, like, depending if a student, there's like a health fee that's added on, each semester that's required, but that's pretty much just to kind of give you a rule of thumb, 46 times, here. So if a student says, how much does it cost to get me an associate's degree? Remember, the golden number is 60, 46 times 6, that kind of gives you your cost, right? It's very, very, very minimal in terms of when you compare it to community college, Cal State, and UC, right? Another example for my students who are very tech savvy, where is the job market at, right? I always tell students this, everything we do is moving towards technology. We have cars that now can drive us. We walk into stores that now machines take our orders, right? We pay with our phones. We can do everything with our phone. You can pay, you can order, you can pick up, you can request. So we're moving in a world where we're advancing in technology, right? So I tell students, where are their jobs? This is another great opportunity where students can take, they can get a Cisco certificate in 2 semesters. They would take the first and second class the first semester, and then the third and fourth class that second semester. Now they earn a certificate, right? And so I tell students, remember, at the end of the day, no matter how smart the computers are, we're still going to need people that update, that know when things go wrong and how to work them and what does it mean when I get this error message, right? So we're still going to need people that know how to do all that. And so that's why I tell students, these certificates are so, crucial to what we do. Looking at this, so there's more than 50 openings a year paying $20 plus an hour, requiring an AA degree or less. This is the perfect example for those of you that are in high school. And I don't, if you want to make more than minimum wage, look at, career education, look at certificates as an option because they require more. I can tell you right now, we're actually hiring in our career center for a career center technician that pays $25 an hour. It doesn't require a degree, but we do require some education. Keyword, guys, some, right? It could be a certificate. having classes, right? So I can tell you firsthand, this is so, so important, right? Okay, I saw some certificates that are good if you want to transfer to them. Is that true? Only transferring? No. So certificates, like I said, it's for the student who says, I don't want to do college, but I want to make more than minimum wage. The certificate option is for you. It's for the student who says, I want to transfer to a Cal State or a UC. Certificates are for you. Or you've earned them, you take the classes anyways, do it. For the student who says, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to make good money, certificates are for you. It's for everyone, regardless of your educational goal, right? I'm actually currently pursuing my doctoral degree. So I have my master's degree. I should have picked up that certificate. I was one class away. I just didn't know and I never asked the counselor, right? So it's for every student, regardless of the situation. And let me share a story with you. And this is by far my favorite story to share. So this is Sharon, and she actually attended in the Irvine Unified School District. So Sharon came from me straight out. So she was like 19 years old. And in the Career Center, what we do sometimes is us counselors will go into the classrooms and we'll do like a 10 to 15-minute presentation on, hey, we're from the Career Center. These are all the resources that we offer. If you need help with your resume, cover letter, looking for a job, applying for a job, come see us. We're happy to help you, right? So we did this bill in one of her classes. And so she was one of the students in that class who eventually said, okay, I'm just going to take her up on the offer. So one day Sharon scheduled an appointment to me. At the time when I met her, I think she was like 19 years old. And she said, I came to you, you went to my classroom and I came to you because I don't know, I've been applying for jobs. I'm looking for part-time work, while I'm a student at IBC. I don't understand. I'm a straight A student. I'm really good, but nobody even gives me the time of day. I haven't got no interviews. So I said, Sharon, let's look at your resume. And so she said, okay. And I said, okay, I said, full discretion here. I want you to know that I am here to help you, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. We need to rework your resume because it's screaming high school student. And you're at a different place in your life now where you're becoming a professional, right? So you're no longer a high school student. You're trying to transition into the professional who you want to become. So I said, let's just rework your whole resume and kind of go from there. So that's what we did. So we spent about 3 sessions going back and forth. And she was using her honors and her AP scores and her classes and all the extracurricular that she did. Not that you don't want to highlight that, but I told her, but what are you doing now as a student? Tell me about the classes you're in now. What type of programs are you learning? Eventually she wanted to be a computer science major. So I was like, tell me about what you're doing now. Are you learning software, Java, C++, programming, anything like that? Can we use that on your resume instead? So she was like, okay. So like I said, we spent 3 sessions going back and forth where she'd come in. I'm like, okay, make these changes and then come back to me. Okay, do that, come back. We finally got to the place where I felt like her resume was really, really good. And I said, okay, now I feel comfortable and I'm giving you permission, send it out. If you feel good about it, I want you to send it out. Let's see what happens. So I would say about a couple weeks later, she comes back to me, right? And so I see her in the Career Center and she's like, and I'm like, oh, hi, Sharon, how's it going? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm totally booked today. And she's like, no, I don't have an appointment with you. But I just wanted to share some news. And she's like, I got 2 jobs. I go, what do you mean? She's like, well, I actually got interviews and I end up getting the job. She goes, one is teaching middle school students how to code and another one is working from home. So one of them was paying like $18 an hour and the other one was paying $28 an hour. There were 2 part-time jobs, but she was like, you're right. It was my resume. I wasn't highlighting myself and it made the huge difference. So in one of our conversations with Sharon, I had said, what is your end goal? Like, tell me, like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years? And she's like, my dream is to work at Google. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, right? It's such a cool, innovative space. Who wouldn't want to work at Google? And so I said, okay. And I was like, well, I think just based on my interaction with you, and I'm not like a fortune teller, but I'm like, you're such a bright student. You have so much personality and I see so much charisma. I think someday you're going to get there. And I just hope that when you do, you keep in touch and let me know. And someday I'd love to tour Google and take my kids. So that's an agreement we're going to make. And she's like, okay. So as time went on, she continued on with her classes. She ended up getting like a certificate from IVC in computer information management, but she ended up transferring to UCI doing computer science. And she continued to keep in touch with me. So even though they have a career center at UCI, she's like, I want to come to you because I feel comfortable and I feel like you're going to tell me the truth. And so we continued to update her resume as she would get the different opportunities. At one point, she got like another opportunity one summer. So we added it. And then she came to me with really good news one day saying, guess what? I got a paid internship at Google to go up north in the summer, and they're going to give me a $5,000 stipend to relocate for the summer. It's going to be a paid internship, 40 hours a week. And what do you think? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a dream. It's Google. It's where you want it to be. You're not even finished with your degree yet. And this is like so exciting. So she took it. And then she's like, and so this is the exact message. What I did is, and of course I asked her for permission, but she sends me a message on LinkedIn one day. She says, hi, Amanda, I stopped by IVC to meet you, but was told you would not be there, during the summer. I wanted to share some good news. I joined full-time at Google. I started a few days earlier, and it's definitely been a journey. So now she's a program manager at Google, working full-time. This is a student who had a job before she even finished. And I mean, talk about like, right, so this is a student who sat in her class. She heard the random lady, me, come into her class, say, come see a counselor, ask your counselor, talk to us, right? We're here to help you. She took me up on the opportunity, and look at what a difference it made in the whole trajectory of her course. Right. And so I tell you all here, obviously, yes, I'm going to share this information with you, but we're here because we want to help you and we want to make a difference. Right. And I'm so glad Sharon took me up on that offer, because her story, it made me so happy. Right. And she's one of the many students who come back to us and share that story with us. But I always tell students, like, it's such a powerful story. Right. And it's just, you just never know the opportunity that's going to come with, making that one decision to, hey, let me listen to this person and take them up on that offer. Right. So in terms of that, and when we talk about, exploring and stuff, and so I showed you about like the different certificate options you have at IVC and how they could benefit you as a student. But I think the key here is to remember, it's really important to kind of be true to yourself and really figure out what you want to do, right? So don't be the student who's going to spend, hours and days researching your first car, but yet when it comes to researching your major, you've like put no thought into it, right? Or maybe you watched one video and you're like, okay, that sounds fun, I'll do it. Be the student who says, no, I'm going to spend some time figuring this out, because the reality is, just like in the first stat, you're going to spend 88,000 hours of your life. What's retirement age? It used to be 55. Now it's like 65. So I'm going to spend the next how many years of my life doing this? I better love it, like it, enjoy it, and I better be passionate about it, right? So there's different things you can do. One of the things we recommend to students is you could take a Counseling 12 class. For those of you that are still in high school, you can actually take the class. And keep in mind, you can take any college course and it's free as long as you're still in high school. So I don't know if you all know this, but even for those of you that say, hey, I wouldn't mind getting a certificate in accounting or human development or any of the other areas, you can actually take these classes. And when you're in high school, they're free. You don't pay tuition. So that's kind of a really good side note, but definitely consider Counseling 12. It's my favorite class to teach as a counselor, and it's just a fun, very exploratory class. And it also covers the resume, and you learn about jobs and you do research. You can talk to a counselor. It's myself, and I have 4 other amazing counselors who work in our career center who are always more than happy to help students. We do offer personality assessments for free, so you can always do that as an option. And so let me kind of, really, like I said, the idea is to kind of explore, then make the decision, and then plan, how do I get there, right? So what is the end goal and what is the plan? So you don't want to do it backwards, because then it gets a little confusing. So you want to make sure that you can do that. So I see that we have a question. How do we join Counseling 12 as a high school student? So I know that Lisa could put that information in the chat about dual enrollment. So there's actually a process that you would need to fill out, but you would be enrolled in the class with any other. So in that class, if you decide to enroll as a high school student, you'd be in the class with college students. Nobody knows you're a high school student. So you would join just like any other student in a college class. So she can put that information in the chat for you as well too, or Cindy could put it. But yeah, I would definitely explore. And then there's also, in addition to Counseling 12, we also have Counseling 4, which is stress management. We have Counseling 10, which is study skills. Counseling 6, academic life and career success. So definitely look at those. For those of you that are interested, I'm teaching in the spring semester. I'm teaching counseling 4, and I'm teaching some of the other areas. So yeah, they're definitely really fun classes. A lot of them are going to be offered online. So that should provide you with flexibility. And it's just a fun way to kind of figure it out. And it's free. That's the best part, right? Okay, so some of the services that we offer in the Career Center. So like I said, we offer free personality assessments. So we have like the strong interest inventory that usually students have to pay for. You can take that in our Career Center for free. And so what you would do is you would take the assessment, our career placement officer would send you the link. And then in order to get your results, she would schedule you with one of myself or one of our other counselors. And then we would kind of go over the results with you, right? So we have everything from, we offer, workshops. We have a calendar every month that we put out, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. We have career speakers. Just before Cindy came on here, she was actually doing one of our career chats with a chiropractor who is Dr. Tabrizi. So he was telling students about his journey and his educational path and how he got there and what made him pursue that area. So we offer a ton of different, workshops and activities. And this is just to kind of give you a breakdown because I feel like it's a little more organized. So we offer counseling appointments to help students explore careers, explore majors, look at certificates, and just provide academic planning, right? So I need an ed plan. Can you help me? Yes. Maybe you want to, you need help with your resume, cover letter, or you want to find a job and you don't know where to begin and you just want someone to kind of help you through that process. We can help you with that. In terms of workshops, you'll see the different ones when I show you the calendar. And then events, we do have, the job fair that we have every semester, but we do sometimes have like hiring panels where we'll have like 10 people come in and talk about the opportunities that they offer in the summer, or like seasonal, so we offer different things like that. Sometimes we'll have internship programs, like we've had the County of Orange come in and talk about the internships that they offer. So that's really, really cool. And then again, so just kind of highlighting some of the, so here are some of the titles, the Rock Your Resume, the elevator speech, right? So these are just career chats. Career chats are my favorite. For those of you that are like wanting to hear from like professionals in the field, we have another one tomorrow on geography. So career chats, you learn so much, even if you're like not a business major, but you like are, joining one that's a different area, you're going to learn so much from the speaker. And it's so fun. It's a great way to get connected. We've had students get connected with our speakers on LinkedIn and do informational interviews. And it's just, they learn about like, oh yeah, we have actually an internship program. Let me connect you with that person. So we've had really, really great outcomes with some of the stuff that we've offered in our center. This is a really, really cool one. This is our Career Launch Academy for those of you that are interested. So we just started offering it this semester, and as of November, we should have about 40 students certified. So it's called the Career Launch Academy. We provide you with the booklet that you see in the picture there, and so that's free of charge. It's pretty much students go through for 1 hour a week, every week, same day, same time. So starting, our next one will start in December, but the first date is actually Tuesday, November 30th from I think 2 to 3:30. It's on the calendar there though. And then we're going to offer it through the month of December every Tuesday. So every week you cover 2 steps. So as you can see here, they'll cover step 1 and 2, the following week, step 3 and 4. And so every week they cover 2 steps. It's not like where you're going to log on and you're just going to hear a presenter. You actually are going to have conversation. You're going to talk about like the process of networking, reaching out, how does that job interview feel? How do you prepare? And it's just really, really fun. And so it's either myself, Cindy, or we have another counselor, Fritzley, who actually runs the coaching sessions. And after you attend the 4 weeks, you actually get a certificate from the Career Center showing that you've completed the program. So it's a great opportunity. And we just started it this fall. Like I said, at the end of November, we should have around 40 students certified. And we've already had 3 students report that they've gotten jobs. Others have reported that they've had informational interviews. It's just a really, really cool opportunity for students who are interested. And for those of you that are still kind of in, thinking like, do I want to go to IVC or maybe I'm going to go straight to the 4-year, just know that we will always, we open our doors to you in the Career Center. We realize it's very exploratory, so we'll never turn you away. And if you say, hey, I heard about this and, in that session and I want to learn more, we will always take you. So just know that, well, we're more than happy to help to have you, and we want you to explore. That's part of the process. So if interested, please take, the contact information at the end, and we can get you signed up for that, or we can send you more information. I talked about the assessments, right? So again, typically there's a charge for these, but luckily we've secured money so that we don't have to charge students. I'm all about free. I don't want you guys to pay for resources. We want to give them to you. So here's another opportunity. So if you're interested in taking the assessment, again, take down the contact information. And then these are some really, really cool websites. And I know that Lisa is going to share out this presentation. So you'll actually be able to click on the links and go directly to the websites. But this is a fun one. I always tell students, how much do you need to make in order to live the lifestyle you want? So California Career Zone allows you to explore that. You literally went through answer a series of questions. And at the end, it'll tell you, you need to make this much to live the lifestyle you want. I will warn you, when I've done this in class, sometimes the students will get an amount and then it says no careers match your lifestyle, go back. So they say, what does that mean? I'm like, well, you may have to go back and decide what you're willing to give up or change your interest areas to be able to accommodate that. So this is really fun to do. Students love that. Another one is Road Trip Nation. So if you're interested, you can actually access this off our IVC Career Center. The code is IVCRTM. So you can create an account for absolutely free. And you can watch different videos. So for those of you that are into sports, into like, journalists, writers, they have everyone from like professional athletes to Wendy Williams to just different people. But what they've done is, and this is what they do. So this Road Trip Nation is housed in Costa Mesa, and every semester they take a group of college students on a road trip and they interview different professionals in the different areas. And they talk about like, what was it like pursuing your area? What struggles did you face? And so it's really cool. If you're ever interested in being part of that road trip, just do a Google search, Road Trip Nation, and you'll see they're always like recruiting to get students for their next RV. But they have people like Howard Schultz, who's the CEO of Starbucks. I love his story. I love Wendy Williams. She talks about how she was willing to do anything when she first started. So they have some really, really cool, powerful interviews, surfers, you name it. And so this is something you definitely want to check out. It's so much fun to watch these interviews. I can just like go on for days. Another one is Candid Career, and all of these are on our Career Center website. So you can access these and you can just kind of have fun with them and just do your research. If you ever want to look at jobs like, simple business, accounting, law, lawyer, whatever you want to do, these are user-friendly sites. And I always tell students, I wouldn't share something with you that I don't like to use or that I think is just kind of boring. So these are really, really user-friendly. This next one here I use to resumes. Like, let's say you're a cashier somewhere, and the quick search, you type in cashier, it's going to give you a bunch of duties that usually typical cashiers will do. And I tell students, you know how you're struggling on your resume to decide, this is what I see on a resume: stock, handle money, help people or help customers. That is not professional. So I tell them, use this site, type in cashier. It's going to give you a description. Do you do this and this and this? And they're like, yes, 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 I do all of that. There you go. This is what you should be describing in your resume, right? So this is my favorite resource by far. And then also too, for those of you that didn't know, we actually have our own job posting site. So if you're looking for a job, we're actually new to spring semester. We're going to actually offer Handshake. So we just transitioned over. Most Cal States and UC systems use Handshake as their job posting site, where employers will look for, specifically for IVC students, we're offering job opportunities. A lot of them are going to be part-time because they realize you're students and you're looking for that part-time flexible work. So if you're interested in that, you could create an account with us and get started, and then we'll go ahead and approve that. So there's the information there. And then lastly, remember I mentioned the calendar of activities. So as you can see here, here's our November calendar. Every single day we have something going on in our center, whether it's a workshop, a career chat. We always have something going on in our center. So really our goal is to help students kind of prepare professionally, right? So it's not just about being a great student. You have to also learn to become that amazing professional, right? So that when you get the certificate, you get the degree, whatever it is your goal is, that they're going to want you. Because I tell students this: when you graduate from college, everyone graduates around the same time, right? High school graduations, they're all around the same time. College graduations, they're all around the same time within that month, right? Give or take a few weeks. what's the first thing students do when they graduate? They look for jobs, right? Especially a college graduation. The first thing you do is look for jobs. So now you have thousands of other students doing the exact same thing you're doing. What's going to set you apart? What's going to make you stand out, right? What's going to make you shine? And so that's the key, right? Because you're going to look like every other student that earned their bachelor's degree or associate degree. Why should, I tell students, why should we hire you? Why should an employer hire you, right? So it's something to think about. We're always more than happy to help you. And sometimes students, they just want to talk it out. I don't know where to start. Any advice? Something, you don't have to have a planned conversation if you meet with a counselor. It could be that simple, right? I just want to know, what should I do? If you're on Facebook or Instagram, we do have, just search IVC Career Center and we'll post all of our upcoming information. Like last month, we had someone from Amazon come talk to our students who was in charge of their marketing department. But it's cool. We've had Google, Blizzard, you've named it. We've had some really cool companies come and talk to our students about the opportunities that they have and just like how they've kind of made it in their company and in their role. So we do a lot of fun stuff. And then lastly, this is our contact information. So I have my email there. But if you ever want to schedule an appointment or register for one of our workshops, you can always call or email or stop by our career center. So we are doing virtual and in-person services. As of now, all of our workshops are via Zoom. So you could literally log in from anywhere, and it's always helpful and it's easy for students, convenient. But that's pretty much all I have for you. I did want to leave some time for questions. I know that I can talk a lot and sometimes I speak really fast, but I have so much information, and I always tell students, like, we just want to share it with you and really put the information out there with the hopes that you're going to say, I remember her coming to my class, or I remember watching her presentation.
There's a quick question. When is the deadline to register Counseling 12 for spring semester as a high school student?
So typically you can register for a class up until the start of the semester. Spring registration has already begun. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you fill out an IVC application. And then from there, you're going to have to submit the K through 12 form, right? That pretty much you need permission from your high school, your parent, and then saying that, yes, you're in good standing and that you can take the class. Typically, that's never an issue because students who are wanting to do it are always in good standing. And then from there, then they would give you a registration date and when you would need to register for the class. So you won't have a problem if you're looking to take a counseling class. You shouldn't have a problem enrolling in the class. As a counselor, I usually teach a variety of different counseling classes each semester, and I usually will always accommodate my students so that they can take the class. So with a counseling class, you should be fine. You're not going to really have a problem if you want to get in. I see another question. I'm thinking of using community college as a sort of a transition to a four-year university. So about articulation agreements, which community colleges offer agreements with UCI, UCLA, and USSD? How exactly would I go about forming those? That is an amazing question and a great question. So I will tell you this. I'm always going to tell you that IVC is the best. Well, because I do feel that. So I'm biased. I will tell you this. If every community college, as long as you go to a community college, they all have courses that will transfer to a Cal State or UC. There's a plan called IGETC that you want to be on. So like for a UC or those that are considering both the Cal State and the UC, we typically recommend, and I know some of you are going to say, what's IGETC? When you're a student at the community college, you're going to learn what it is right away. But it's a general ed plan that pretty much gives you, like, if I follow IGETC, every Cal State and UC will take it in California. And that's what you want. You want to know that you're following a plan that's going to be universal to all Cal States and UCs. So as long as you're meeting with a counselor, you're creating that plan. And in this case, for this student would be that IGETC plan, you're going to be safe. And at that point, you would tell the counselor, these are the 3 schools I'm considering. I want to make sure as this major that this is what I would do. However, you may say, I don't know my major just yet, but I want to go to a UC. It would still allow us to serve you and say, okay, these are the classes that you want to take for now. Once we decide on your major, this is what we're going to do. If you're possibly thinking of this major, these are the classes you would also need as part of your major. So either way, you would have just a plan. And so that's totally a normal question. Students come to us every day with that same response. I want to go to UCs. These are the schools I'm considering. What do I need to do? And we have an option that we would line out for you and kind of map it out so that you understand it, and then you know what your game plan is every semester. I will say the number one thing is you just want to make sure you meet with the counselor every semester. It doesn't matter what community college you go to, meet with your counselor every semester. That's key, because you never want to learn, like I have students who will say, well, I didn't know that, or no one told me. The only way you're going to know this is if you're checking in with, the counselor. And the beauty of it is you get to pick your counselor. So it's not like in high school where you're assigned by maybe last name or, by some type of, at the community college, you find a counselor you love and you stick with them. And if you find a counselor you don't really like, then you change your counselor, and we're, that's no problem. So we have a ton of counselors at IVC. We have over 60 counselors at IVC. So you'll find someone that you're going to absolutely love and that you feel is like, okay, perfect match. They get me, they understand me. I'm sticking with them. Yes. Are there any Persian counselors in IVC? Yes, there is. So even if you needed, in terms of bilingual, so in Farsi or, or Spanish or whatever the language you feel more comfortable with, we definitely do have counselors of all different nationalities and ethnicities that can help you. So when you call to schedule an appointment, just mention that, because then we know who to schedule you with. So that's a really great question. Any other ones? We have about 4 minutes left. So if you have any questions, please, put them in the chat or ask. We're more than happy. Oh, thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. It's so different when I don't see you guys, but you can see me. So I normally love seeing, the beautiful faces and the smiles or the reactions. So I don't get to see that, but I just hope that the information is helpful. Can you change your counselor if you don't like them? Absolutely. You're not assigned a counselor. So unless you're like, maybe you're like, for example, you're a promise student, you have to meet with one of those counselors. You can meet with like other counselors. You can meet with counselors more than once a semester. It's completely open. Let's say you came to me and said, oh, I don't really like her. And then you went to Cindy. I wouldn't know that you went to Cindy. I don't get a notification. I don't know. Our goal is we want you to be happy, and we want you to find the counselor who gets you, who understands you. And, it's like a friendship, right? Or relationship. Like, like, yes, they get me, they understand me. As a student, I found a counselor at the community college, and I stuck with her my whole way through. I loved her. I felt like she's going to do what's best for me, and she's going to guide me, and I trusted her, and I'm glad I did, because it totally helped me. Okay, so can I use dual enrollment for IGETC? Yeah, so keep in mind, if you take a course and if it's transferable, of course, and it applied towards your general ed or whatever the case may be, yes, it's going to be transferable. So that's not a problem at all. Do you have an email we can reach you at? Yes, and it's actually there on the screen. It's aromero@ivc.edu. And so thank you, Lena. I appreciate your feedback. But yeah, I'm more than happy to help for other IVC sessions. Okay, so I see all the questions coming through. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So counselor appointment. Yeah, you can actually contact, if you want like a specific counselor, like myself, Cindy, like I have, like I said, we have other counselors. You can contact the Career Center. You can call that phone number or email them and just tell them, hey, I'm interested in signing up, for an appointment. And go on our website. If you go to ivc.edu under student services, you'll see a list. You can go to counselors, meet the counselors, and you'll see all the counselors with a picture, and then it shows you if they're bilingual. So just go on the website too and see if there's a counselor that you want to start with. It could be based on like maybe your area. Like you'll see under mine, it says career education counselor, it says career, and it also says business, because I work closely with the business faculty. Every counselor has a concentration. So just look on the website and see what you find. Sometimes that's like a good starting point. You get to like counselor catalog shop in a sense. When does enrollment at IVC for fall 22 start? Okay, so that typically will start sometime around March, April, depending on, so every student has a different registration date, so it'll change. And then Cindy has put in the chat, she's put our information for the Career Center as well too. She put my email address, so if you have any questions, you can definitely do that as well too. Is there early enrollment? So if you're brand new high school, so if you're a student graduating, you can get priority registration, right? So we have like the Promise program, and there's different opportunities that you would have as a newly incoming freshman student, right? Just graduating. If you are a high school student and let's say you're in 11th grade, you wouldn't necessarily receive priority. Your tuition, the classes would be free, and they would give you a specific date as to when you would register for the class. I will tell you right now, we have a ton of classes that are open. So if you're interested in exploring a class, you definitely have a lot of options. I think we're good with questions. Is there a catalog? Actually, Anne, that's a great question. There isn't a catalog. Really, it's pretty much any course you see in our class schedule you can take, with the exception of you can't do PE with us, but you can take any of the other courses. Some of them will have prerequisites, so you don't want to take those. And those would be like, for example, like organic chemistry, right? Where it's a more advanced level of chemistry. So that would have a prerequisite, but some of our classes wouldn't have that. So we don't have a catalog. You can just check the class schedule and just look at like some classes. And I would say meet with the counselor, because we can kind of give you some like ideas. I have students come to me all the time who are in high school and say, I want to take a class to get a head start. What classes do you recommend? And I'll say, okay, here's like some possible options that would be good. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions, then I think we are good for today. And like I said, we're more than happy to help. So feel free to reach out if needed.